Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jay Cohn.
And I'm Jeanelle Slade. Parts of western Montana under siege tonight as rushing waters keep rising.
As of tonight, more than 800 Missoula homes now under an evacuation warning as families pack up their belongings and wait for official orders to leave.
Missoula now coping with the worst flooding the city has seen in decades. But Montana Lieutenant Governor Mike Cooney says the state stands ready to send whatever aid is needed.
MTN's Dennis Bragg joined the Lieutenant Governor today to get a first-hand look at what Missoula County is facing.
Lieutenant Governor Mike Cooney joined State Senator Diane Sands for a briefing and tour of Missoula's growing flood problem, with the Clark Fork starting to eclipse previous flood levels and reaching the highest marks in more than 30 years. Sheriff TJ McDermott and others managing the evacuations and flood response told Cooney the community is coping so far, but will likely need more state assistance, especially with the bulk of this winter's snowmelt still to come downstream. Across town, Cooney met volunteers led by the Team Rubicon veterans who are turning out thousands of sandbags to save homes and neighborhoods.
Bringing sand and hauling bags. You betcha. That's great. It's how
we're here for, right?
Exactly.
It's America.
It's America. Thank you so much.
The bottom line is this is a tough situation for the people here. Missoula is lucky. You've had great volunteer turnout. Your community leaders have done a fabulous job of, working with the people in the affected areas, trying to be accommodating as possible, but at the same time doing the job they have to do in order to protect the life and safety of people.
On the dike off Stone Street, the neighborhoods are awash in a combination of river and groundwater. In some cases, a few people are still evacuating, doing whatever they can to save now soggy possessions and limit the damage as much as possible. Right now, that's a battle without victory against the river's onslaught. You can hear the pumps running in this neighborhood nonstop. I asked the Lieutenant Governor what he would tell people if he could go door to door about the risks and the potential for more water to come.
This is a tough thing, and I'd have to say, look, I understand. This is a very disrupting thing. You think your lives have been turned upside down, and they have been. But we're going to get through this. I mean, we're Montanans. We're resilient. This is a great community that's going to help people along. And so, they need to reach out, and when they need something, ask, and I'm sure somebody will be there to help them out. But this is going to be a long road to hoe, and we got to be prepared.
If there's good news here today, it's that critical systems like roads, dikes, and utilities are undamaged so far. That's where the state can step in as needed. But it's the individuals facing the unknown, and that's where the community is already making a difference. In Missoula, Dennis Bragg, MTN News.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Meanwhile, over in Helena, motorists there daring to brave the elements, finding out the city's storm drains are really not up to the task.
Take a look. Here you see water gushing from a storm drain just a few blocks from the state capitol building. The latest rainfall making things even messier, and more water is on the way. Creeks and streams in the Helena area still rising, bringing some traffic to a halt.
As you can see, it really doesn't take much rain to create a huge problem, especially at this time of the year when most of the waterways are already swollen from snowmelt.
Although western Montana has taken the brunt of this flooding, eastern Montana is not immune either.
Q2's Connor Pregetzer tonight joins us now with more on that situation.
The record snowpack is causing flooding situations to worsen around the state. Now, here in our region, we have seen less of an impact than places like Missoula and Helena. But that is not to say that we are entirely unaffected. We take a look at the Musselshell River, where there is a flood warning up at Shawmut. The river is expected to crest at 7.4 feet by early next week. Flood stage is 6.5 feet and has already been eclipsed. Now, Harleton and Lavina along the Musselshell are also expected to reach flood stage in the coming days, although to a much lesser extent. The Yellowstone River is also running fast and high, but that's nothing surprising for this time of year. And in this case, there are no major flooding concerns. Here in Billings, the Yellowstone is expected to crest at more than 3 feet below flood stage. Now, one of the major factors in flood concerns is incoming precipitation. And for more information on your precipitation forecast for this upcoming weekend, we send it to Bob.
Well, thank you very much, Connor. Now, up in the mountains, they're making some good headway in plowing the Beartooth Highway. Let me show you what it looked like today as they're up there. We're doing very well, and you can see all that snow up there, but the problem is this may all be for naught because we are expecting to see almost the same amount of snow as up there now. We could get some of this weekend, and here's the reason why. Take a look. We have a big upper-level low-pressure cell up in British Columbia, and that's expected to slide its way down into Wyoming. As it does so, it's going to be sending copious amounts of rain and snow in our area. Take a look at the threat board. That is a winter storm watch for the Bighorns, up to 30 inches of snow there. The Beartooths could see 8 to 16 inches of snow. Same thing in the Crazy Mountains. Absarokas could see maybe up to 25 inches of snow. Meanwhile, over here by basically from Butte on up to Sealy Lake, could see 2 to 4 inches of snow there. And on Kings Hill, maybe right around 1 to 2 inches of snow. It's going to be a wet, snowy weekend for a lot of folks. Here in Billings, we could see almost maybe an inch of precipitation.
All right, thank you very much, Bob.
The former Billings Clinic nurse fired last year for allegedly taking patient painkillers for himself plans to plead guilty to federal charges.
Q2's Asia Gore has been following this story and is here with us tonight with more. Asia, is there a plea agreement in this case?
Well, Jay and Jeanelle, there is no plea agreement in this case. Donald Mills has filed notice, though he will plead guilty to the 2 federal charges and risk a prison sentence. Billings Clinic's Director of Pharmacy Services contacted the Drug Enforcement Administration in March of last year to report a series of drug thefts. Investigators learned Mills had been diverting the powerful painkiller fentanyl from at least 300 patients for his own personal use. Mills refilled the emptied vials with saline, a saltwater solution. During a forensic interview, Mills admitted taking the drugs to treat his neck pain. According to court documents, Mills said he would go to the bathroom and inject the drug into his arm. Mills claimed he did provide patients with a new vial of fentanyl in addition to the saline. An audit of the medication service station revealed Mills made 70 fraudulent transactions under his login. It's unclear what sentence prosecutors will recommend. The change of plea hearing is scheduled for next week. Jay and Jeanelle.
All right, thanks, Asia.
One Billings elementary student dealing with medical issues won't have to worry about homework tonight because tomorrow he is headed to Legoland.
That's right. Make-A-Wish paid a visit to 9-year-old Gage at Ponderosa Elementary School today to grant his wish. Now, Gage has a disorder that causes abnormalities of the head and face. This disability has impacted his speech and cognitive development, but his parents tell us he has quite the personality.
Gage's 2 big loves, the jungle and Legos. Today he learned he's headed to San Diego with his family to visit Legoland. And to top it off, his teacher and classmates, as you can see, decorated his classroom like a jungle.
Extremely overwhelming, just awesomeness, like everyone coming together and the Make-A-Wish people and all these people at Ponderosa, just everyone coming together is really cool.
Gage's mom says she's known for a while now that her son will get to get his wish, but says today was bigger than she could have hoped.
Hope they have a great trip, huh?
Great story.
Still ahead on tonight's 5:30 News. New leadership for KOA means new opportunities for campers. We'll check out how in a moment.
And later in sports, Billings swimmer Ethan Harder commits to the #1 college program in America. Scott fills us in.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 5:30 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.